Greetings, friends, and welcome back to the Run Your Mouth podcast. Yesterday, I realized I had too much episode in one episode, so I decided to come back a second day in a row. It's the leftover show, but I got really good leftovers, so you guys are going to like it because there's all sorts of stuff that we were talking about yesterday that we didn't get covered today. So today, we're going to get into it. Yesterday, I was talking all a bunch about the January 6th stuff, and what's fun is that there's going to be 5 more days of primetime television, all about January 6th. And even though they haven't aired the future days, I don't know if you guys know this, but the reason why I've been right about COVID, I was right about Russia collusion, I was right about Ukraine wars. I have a crystal ball and I can see into the future and I can know things that are going to happen before they even happen. And that's why, even though we haven't seen all of the January 6th committee hearings, we're only on day one. They're going to be doing 6 full days of this thing. They're really milking it. And so I have a song that's going to be a summary of all of the days. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, how can I know what's going to happen on the days that haven't even happened yet? How can I have a parody song summarizing everything that's happened if it hasn't even happened? And that's what I'm trying to tell you. I can see the future. I know the way that the rest of these things are going to go. And so here for you now, I have, I got a song that's going to summarize all the days of what's going on, because they couldn't get this done in one hearing. Usually they do it in the middle of the afternoon. Even if it's 12 hours, they get it done. Even if they don't take any piss breaks and they go, hey, this person's a rapist, or hey, this Benghazi person turned off security footage and lied to us about it, usually they can condense into a day. But not when it comes to January 6th. January 6th, this thing's going a whole week. And they broke it up by a weekend. That's how good they are at hitting the prime time. They hit it Thursday night. Then let's take a break. Nothing on Friday. No one's going to watch that. Take the weekend off. Come back Monday night full force and do a whole nother week of it. All right, here we go. Here's my here's my recap of how this whole thing is going to go down. On the first day of January 6th hearings, the Democrats gave to me Trump is super bad primetime TV. On the second day of January 6th hearings, the Democrats gave to me footage of people being shoved. Trump is super bad primetime TV. On the third day of Christmas, the Nancy Pelosi hand-picked mission without Jim Jordan gave to me General Miley Wiling. Cops on the floor crying, where's my backup? Trump is dangerous primetime TV. I think I'm behind the song. Let's pull it back. I can't hear it because I have the headphones on. I didn't plan this out that well. All right, now we're back on. On the fourth day of How Do We Not Talk About Inflation and the President's Dementia, the Democrats gave to me 4 intelligence agency reports. 3 Republicans going, we're scared. 2 transgenders who can now show their dicks to kids. All on primetime TV. On the 5th day of How Are We Going to Fill 5 verses or episodes with this, the Democrats didn't show to me Nancy Pelosi not calling for her backup. Trump saying, let's be peaceful. People going, oh, we can just walk into this building. And then the feds going, everyone, we got to get into that building. All on live TV. All right, we're going to get a musical director in here who can, time the parodies a little better. But we did it. I committed to the bit. And now we're done with it, so I don't have to sing anymore. All right, what else we got going on? I had other news stories to cover. Here we go. All right, we're going to play this video. And then we're going to do a breakdown. This is a fun video. This is, I don't know. You guys ever listen to Joel Osteen? I got to tell you, when I was down in that area, well, here, I travel the whole country, and then I go to these cool areas, and then I think I'm going to do all sorts of things. Then I just stay in the hotel room, read the news, and jerk off. And I'm like, I could have just done this at home, but my home's a wreck. So sometimes it's nice being able to do it from a hotel. But when I was down there, I was like, I would love to go see Joel Osteen. You know why? He's just a good sales guy. I mean, I haven't listened to all that many of his speeches, but if you catch a couple minutes, usually there's not even that much God or anything else in it. From what I can hear, it's usually just more like, and if you can feel that love, and I don't know why I'm making him sound like Biden. I could have watched him beforehand, worked on that impression, but I feel like when I watch Joel Osteen, the couple clips that I've seen, he just gives you a couple inspirational messages, and then you got to be impressed with the fact the guy's packing out a stadium. You know, I'm putting 15 asses into a seats in backyards, and those people had to bring their own seats. This guy can fill up a stadium of people that want to, and most people don't even like God that much. So if you can sell a stadium of people wanting to show up on a Sunday and donate money to hear you talk about God, you're doing something right. Maybe I gotta whiten my teeth, get a Jerry curl, have big old smiles, and be like, if I can do it, you can do it. More of that energy, more of the, hey, if we aren't you feeling this spirit that I have? Because you can feel this spirit too. And then we can all feel really good, and turn to your neighbor, and just if you shake his hand and we smile at him, he smiles at you. We can all feel the Lord in our hearts. I would have liked to have gone seen him. I didn't go to see him. Anyways, this was an incident that took place at Joel Osteen's church in the middle of services. Let's give it a play, and then, I got some commentary.
It's my body, my fucking choice!
Passing laws against abortion will not stop them from happening. Wielding the Bible as a weapon to control women's free choice is...
This is my Bible. I am what it says I am. I have what it says I have. I can do what it says I can do. Today I will be taught the word of God. I boldly confess. My mind is alert. My heart is receptive. I will never be the same. I'm about to receive the incorruptible, indestructible, ever-living seed of the word of God. I'll never be the same. Never, never, never. I'll never be the same in Jesus' name. God bless you.
It's my body, my fucking choice!
So let's pause for 1 second. So you got Joel Osteen. He's holding his Bible in his hand. He's saying his nice prayer. The room quiets down, and this lady goes, this is my big moment. And so she takes off her shirt. She decides she's going to show off her mediocre body. I mean, why am I shitting on her? She's got a flat tummy. I'd love to have a tummy that looked like that. And then I guess she had some other person grope her beforehand, or maybe it's her own fingerprints, but she's got green fingerprints front and center. And then, she looks at her friend and she's going to be like, aren't you in on this with me? You know, that moment of embarrassment, like, hey, I thought we were doing this. And then the other friend, who's even less attractive, is like, all right, shit, I guess we are getting naked in this church now. And so she gets naked, and then they got like period stains on the back end. I think they just did that for effect, even though there is a tampon shortage. Which you got to feel particularly bad for these women who are condoms getting the Johnson & Johnson, vaccines. There's nothing worse than showing up, you got a heavy flow, and you're like, are you kidding me? There's not a single tampon? Well, what am I supposed to be shoving up my vagina right now? I guess the t-shirt section, you got tube socks? What else is going to work up here? Anyways, I don't think they were on their periods. I think they were just trying to make their church disruption even more disgusting. But here we go. This was still a little too much play-by-play commentary. Let's watch the less attractive one get undressed also.
My choice!
Chapter 4.
Overturn, girls! Hell no!
God is good.
My body, my choice! I am who I say I am! I do what I say I can do because I have a choice! I have a choice! I have a choice!
I know this. I'm glad to be in the house of the Lord.
You got to say, even if you're pro-abortion, I think you would be like, yeah, these people. I mean, even if you were anti-abortion, if you found out this lady was pregnant, you'd be like, yeah, let's have less of that lady. I think even the church, like the Pope himself, would make an exception and just be like, yeah, we shouldn't be doing it, but, exceptions for rape, incest, and if people like this are going to procreate. Yes, you not only is it my body, my choice, but if there's going to be less of you in the world, you've made the right choice. All right, so here's what I want to get at. You want to have your abortions. I'm a big fan of freedom. You should be able to live in communities with like-minded individuals, or maybe your entire church is that you celebrate abortions. Maybe that's the worship service that you do. And guess what? It would be inappropriate if I came and I disturbed that service. I feel like there's a missing thing that nobody quite talks about, that there are higher values, and one of them is just respect for other people. Like, why would you disturb it? Like, you can't be on the side of right if you're showing up and you're disturbed. Like, the action that you're taking is clearly a negative. It's like engaging in violence to pursue your agenda. Well, then you're the one who's doing the violence. You're the one who's bringing a negative into the equation. And you can pretend, hey, the end justifies the means, or, well, the violence that I'm engaging in is worthwhile. But like, just have some, like, if we all just had some fucking respect for each other, it's not really not that complicated. Like, don't show up to places when you're sick. Don't be sneezing on people. Don't steal people's money, and just have some fucking respect in life. Like, I don't know, like, there's some things that like just shouldn't be that complicated. Whatever your opinion is, it's not so good. You're not showing up to church with the cure to cancer that you should impose it on the other people. You know, like I even had this. It goes both ways. Like, here's some of the higher values that I feel like I grew up in my life that for some reason like just doesn't seem to exist in the culture. Firstly, is don't complain. I mean, all I do on the show is complain, but it's mostly about the government because you know they're stealing our future. So you know, and you don't have to listen to my complaining. It's not like I showed up to dinner and then you guys thought we were gonna have a nice meal and then I just ruined it by complaining the whole time. No, I did the nice thing. I woke up early and I researched why I was complaining, and then I did it over the internet. So then when I showed up to the other place, I didn't have to complain. That's like, or you pay a shrink to complain, and that's why you pay them. They're not going to help you anything. They don't have any good ideas or opinions. Believe me, there's no help there. But at least it's a place that you can pay, and someone has to listen to you complain. So then when you go hang out with your other friends, you get all your complaints all the way. So that was one, and the next was like, don't be a tattletale. Now it's like, oh, well, like you get free shit for tattletaling. If you can whine the loudest, be the biggest victim, and complain about what other people are doing, you know, government's coming along and going, yeah, here's some free shit. And we wonder why there's more of this stuff. But like, to me, these were just higher values. Don't complain. Don't tattletale. Just have some respect. You can go do what you want. You just don't do it in the middle of someone else's services. On that note, I was once in Milwaukee, and we're at like a mall on a Sunday, and there was this dude holding a Bible, and he's yelling into the mall. Like, this is not really a New York thing, but he's just yelling at the top of his lungs about the devil's coming for all of you. And unless you repent. And so me, just being the asshole high school kid that I was at the time, I just walked up to him with a big smile on my face. Like, sir, I'm really interested in what you're saying. Do you mind telling me what your message is? And like, he looks at me and he just keeps yelling. And I'm like, sir, I'm interested. Would you mind telling me? And then he's like, well, just listen. I'm like, well, you're yelling. I can't even really understand you, but I'm interested. I'll listen to what you have to say. And then he started getting really mad. And I kept up this bit for a fair amount of time. But in that case, you know, people aren't in church. It makes no sense to go stand on a wall and just yell at the top of your lungs. Then you're being the asshole because nobody benefits from that. There's no one who goes, oh, this guy's yelling, and I you know what? He's right. I better turn my life around. No one's listening. No one's listening to your stupid fucking message if it's in a place that it shouldn't be and you're just yelling up the top of your lungs. That doesn't, it's stupid, and it's annoying to the people who decided not to go to church and they're walking around in the mall. I promise you that guy probably could have gone every single Sunday for his entire life and yelled. He probably hasn't redeemed a single soul. And not only that, I bet he could have been like righteous in all of his other ways. And then he gets up to heaven and God's like, did you have to yell in the mall every Sunday? And on the same note, you want to go get like abortions and stuff. You know, I'm not telling you one way or the other, but you can't think you're on the right side when you're showing up to church and you're disturbing a ceremony as if these people are imposing on you, and you feel like you're the good guy here. Here, we can watch a little bit more of the footage.
Here today to break the silence and stand up because the Christians are not afraid to bother us at healthcare clinics, at doctors' offices, trying to get essential healthcare. So why the fuck wouldn't we bother you in your own home where the laws are coming from? So that you guys know that we're serious and we are not going to be backing down.
You know what? I hadn't heard that part of the video. And all right, I guess it makes a little bit of a point there. But however, I don't think these people actually get into the room. You know, even this, I would say, you want to protest outside of the church, then that's kind of fair game. It's weird, but it's fair game. The middle of the service, it's like, can you imagine if those people showed up with like holy water, pulled the vacuum out of your vagina, started yelling and sprinkling water on the doctor as if it was like a vampire and he was trying to like salvage him and they're holding up the thing? I would also go, all right, that's a little bit too much. There's a medical procedure going on in this room. Feel like you're stepping over a line. All right, let's read a couple comments here if I can see him. I think I got my lights on too bright. It's too much coming off my forehead here. Making my homie wife listen to all this week's episode as we drive through Yellowstone. Can you wish Jamie a happy birthday and anniversary? Happy anniversary, Jamie. I hope it all comes together for you. And I feel like you got a nice feller there that he's taking you through Yellowstone. Abby Normo, happy fellow June birthday to Jamie. Oh, look, you guys are even within the comments. You're conversing. I hope everyone makes good lifelong friendships in the comments. So run your mouth. Dingus Khan, he can't stay on a beat because it's a Christmas song. That is true. I kind of blew that bit, but it happens. Abby Normal, nice Heine. I think you're talking about my Heine. Thank you. New rule, all lefties must abort their first pregnancy. Less leftists equals a better society. Except that a lot of kids rebel against their parents. So I don't know if that policy would work. But before we move on to the next thing, sheathunderwear.com. And this is how good sheath underwears are. I have to track down this guy from Robert, but yesterday, cool fan, nice long locks of hair, shows up to the store. And by the way, here's the newest sheath promotion. If you show up to the store, Robert, he's got a tailor suit and he'll measure your dick and balls to make sure that you're in the proper pair of sheaths. And they got a private room, so you don't have to do it in front of the other people. But Robert, he's an expert in underwear and dick and ball comfort. And so when was the last time you ever sat down and actually got measurements from a tailor? And you certainly never had a tailor measure your cock and balls to make sure that it fit comfortably within your pants. But Robert, he's willing to do it. You show up to that store, you don't have to do it. You can just buy underwear and leave. That you can do. But if you want to use promo code RYM and have your dick and balls measured by Robert, did he agree to this promotion? No, he's probably hearing it right now, same as you, going, why is that a promotion? But if one person shows up and takes advantage of that, then I'll laugh. And thanks to the one guy who I have to get on the show, he bought one pair one day and then he came back the next day and he's like, I'm going to need 7 pairs of this because this is a game changer. I've never felt this good in my entire life. I've been staying home this whole pandemic because Fauci told me to stay home, and then I didn't feel comfortable going outside. But now that I have the confidence of seeing how good my sheath bulge looks every time I look in the mirror, and knowing how good my cock and balls feel in this unbelievably silky fabric, now I can leave my house again and impregnate women like these. I'm going to church. And you know what? Yeah, that, by the way, that's a good move for getting laid, is if you're standing right next to someone and they're having one of these panic moments, you just hop right into the moment. But then what ends up happening is, like, these people were like nicely thrown out. If you're a dude and you get in on this kind of action, like I once saw a pretty lady, like she threw up in a bar and started crying. And you know what people did? They brought her napkins. If you do that as a dude, you're going to get picked up and hauled. You're going to just get hauled, like literally just fucking tossed out. But, I wasn't here to complain about double standards. All right, what else do we have in our leftover episode? I think I had another one of these wacky videos. Oh, yeah, here was a lady, topless pro-choice protester, runs onto court at WNBA game in Brooklyn. And, the women stripping naked, they're not sending their best. If you're going to put people on the front line of these movements and you're trying to garner support for being topless, you don't want the one pair of titties nobody wants to see. I mean, if I want to see things like, I can go to a public pool and look at 9-year-olds that are fat. Not that you should do that. That's creepy. Don't do that. And if you are doing that, make sure to wear sunglasses and not to talk to them and pretend like you're reading the newspaper. But still, don't do that. It's probably illegal and you shouldn't do that. I was trying to help out. I ended up making a creepy point. I was just trying to help out the women trying to lead these topless movements and let them know we're not against women going topless. I think you can get a lot of support on that one, but send out the nicer titties. All right. And then this video I came across on Libs of TikTok. And let's give it a play.
Happy Pride, everybody. I already mentioned this in my story, but I've added a new set of pronouns to the pronouns that I'm comfortable being called. I've been sitting on Fair's pronouns for a while, and honestly kind of psyching myself out about it. I'm like, oh, do I really want to change this again? And then I realized, I was like, who cares? If I decide that I don't like them, I can just stop using them. My other thing about this new set of pronouns is that I would only like for queer and trans people to use them for me. Cishet people, they, them. Queer and or trans people, you can use they, them, or fair. It's all good with me. I'm excited because fair pronouns make me feel very affirmed in my not feeling like a person.
Well, the good news is that the people that we don't really want to interact with, they've started using a different language. So you're not going to get in trouble for not communicating with, because I don't even know what happened there. This to me is like, I don't know. I've never played Dungeons and Dragons, but I feel like this is the way the instructions would go. Like most people, I just hang out with them. You call them by a name and you move on. This feels like a lot of instructions. I mean, if you're showing up to any conversation with this many instructions for how people can interact with you, I think there was an episode of Louis where he's got to watch some kid for like for a lady, and she shows up with just too many It's like you can't have this. If you have this many instructions, you're being overimposing. You got to at least simplify it. You want to simplify it and go, hey, my name was Rick, now it's Ricky now. Hey, fair enough. You want to go by Ricky? That works. Keeping it simple. If I got to take 3 classes, like learning Spanish, I got to take 3 classes in gender studies in order to even decipher what you're trying to tell me. You're coming to the table with a little bit too much
Happy
information
Pride,
or a few too many demands. All right, and now we've got the new press secretary, who I realize she kind of looks like a Bratz doll fucked a Cabbage Patch Kid. It's like a new Chucky movie where we've combined these B grade toys. So anyways, she's talking about the economy. Everyone's nervous about inflation, things going up in price. Might be better than deflation that comes when this full recession gets into swing. Save your money now. And who knows? You might be able to buy up everything that your neighbors have. You might be able to turn them into your slaves. You got enough money when deflation settles in. Who knows what you can purchase? But anyway, she's talking about inflation, and let's give it a listen.
What we're trying to say, what I'm trying to say to you is that the economy is in a better place than it has been historically. And so we feel here at this administration, and other experts as well, is that we feel that we are in a good position to take on inflation. We are in a good position to really start really working on lowering prices.
I want to play that again. Let's listen to that once more.
What we're trying to say, what I'm trying to say to you is that the economy is in a better place than it has been historically. And so we feel here.
All right. And I want to point out that if you're at the top before a collapse, you're there before a bubble pops, aren't you always going to be at the best point historically? I mean, the moment before a problem, right? You're always going to be at the best point. So if people are going, hey, does the Fed have the tools to resolve this inflation thing? And they go, oh, well, our economy's at the best point it's ever been. We can rate, well, is that real growth? Is that like all of a sudden every single factory's in full swing and we're creating so many items and there's so much employment out there and things are cooking along that there is like real growth in the economy that you're like, oh, we can increase the cost of what it would take to borrow money because if anything, there's too much economic growth and too much money coming out of the economic growth that's going on. And so we feel pretty confident that we can fight the inflation because is that the environment that we're in right now? Or is whatever strong economy you're lying about really just the top of the inflation? I mean, just the top of an economic bubble. I just thought that's a funny way to put it, like where we are at economically. We're like, well, we're in the best point. Well, you're always like, before things go to shit, you're always at the best point. That's kind of the way it works. All right. And then I think I had one more.
What we're trying to say.
I think I had one more. Oh, yeah. Here's the latest. They're actually being honest about Ukraine. I mean, this is a weird one. For like weeks, the New York Times and all these publications were trying to pretend like Ukraine was winning this thing. I guess they finally got it passed to send them enough money that everyone's making their dollars that they needed to make on this deal, that now they can finally admit, oh yeah, it's not we're not winning this thing. I guess they were trying to pretend like they had a chance long enough that they could send the massive amount of money, put in the big defense contract things, go, hey, we really got to support these Ukrainian people. And now everyone, they got their piece of the action. They sold the bill of goods that they needed to sell. And so now everyone can report on the fact that Ukraine's losing this thing. I mean, what changed? What changed? That it's always funny to me, like where on the internal meetings of when they're lying about shit, like what is about to happen in that country now that they're like, oh, I don't think we can lie anymore, because they always got to get ahead of it. Like if tomorrow, Putin took over the entire country, it doesn't look good if they kept going, yeah, we're winning. And it was such a weird lie. It was such a weird lie to pretend like they were winning. Well, we know why they did it, because they want to pretend, oh, if we just give a little bit more resources, if we just get behind them, we can save these Ukrainian lives. And then, all right, here's just another headline. It's not, because now this is kind of widespread that they're running out of weapons. They got soldiers dying. They're losing critical cities. They're really changing the tone from, hey, Ukraine's winning this war. Putin's an idiot. He didn't know what he was doing. He was mismatched. He didn't stand a chance, and he went in there and he miscalculated. And so pretty soon he's going to be calling us up to apologize, and we will have changed the dynamics of world power because Putin, thinking that he was going to restore the glory of Russia and reconquer the world and restore the borders of the old Soviet Union, he overstepped this time. He really miscalculated. He didn't know what was coming. I don't know. I mean, finally, they're walking away from that lie, but isn't it a little bit strange? What do you think changed over the last couple of weeks? And then once the story changes, what do you think Biden does? Well, he goes, I warned the guy. We tried to tell him, and it's not it's his fault. It's his fault because I warned him. I kept telling him they're gonna go in, but so since I told him, it's their fault, and we sent them stuff, and I guess we could have de-escalated since then, but if they had just acknowledged before it happened, it was gonna happen, maybe it wouldn't have happened. So, it's his fault. And then I want to read you this piece from Zero Hedge because I thought that this was very insightful. Here we go. However, Zelensky confessed that he was assured in private that NATO membership for Ukraine was in reality never going to happen. Below is the transcript of that part of the March 20th interview. This was on CNN, this interview, at least according to Zero Hedge. But everyone in the West told me that we do not have any chance of NATO or EU membership. I asked them not to drive the Ukrainian people into a corner because our people are brave and the West should also be brave in telling directly to Ukrainian people that, well, you're not going to be a NATO EU member. They don't have a consolidated position. I requested that personally. I requested them personally to say directly that we're going to accept you in NATO in a year or 2 or 5. Just say it directly and clearly, or just say no. And the response was very clear. You're not going to be a NATO or EU member, but publicly, the doors will remain open. I asked them about preemptive sanctions. I talked about Nord Stream 2. We were discussing all of it, and simultaneously we're strengthening our army because with neighbors like this, we have, this is the only way out. Zelensky had followed with, we are paying with our people. He added, describing the situation as somewhat of a betrayal. So my rhetoric is absolutely true, and I'm not mentioning explicitly what country said that Ukraine is not going to be a NATO member. I think that this is a very righteous position that has to remain behind the scenes, but that is true. All right, now here is the insight. Thus, Washington can't exactly pretend it was all along taking the moral high ground, while Biden is now throwing Zelensky under the bus. Essentially, the administration pushed Kiev to stand up to Russia while publicly making empty promises that insiders knew would never be fulfilled. And still, the U.S. and U.K. in particular are pushing a no-compromise approach that will only ensure a protracted conflict and tragically more deaths. Or as Professor John Mershimer put it in a now famous 2015 address at the University of Chicago, the West is leading Ukraine down the primrose path, and the end result is that Ukraine is going to get wrecked. So there you go. Biden's going, it's Zelensky's fault, except publicly you're going, we refuse to take Ukraine being in NATO off the table, all while Putin's going, well, you better take that off the table because if not, I'm going to go in there. And Biden goes, nope. And then in private, Biden's like, yeah, you're obviously not going to join NATO. Why? What the fuck are you doing? Why are you publicly making statements that would provoke a war if in private you're acknowledging that it's never going to happen? What exactly was the end game here? And so sometimes I think about this and I'm like, is this purposeful? Are they just trying to drive oil prices up so that that all of a sudden their green energy and their windmill shit, that like it's actually cost effective because we can't get our hands on fuel? Sometimes my conspiracy brain goes there because I'm just like wondering, like, I don't understand what the end game is here. I don't understand the end game of trying to pretend like Ukraine was winning. I don't understand the end game of pushing Putin into this. I don't understand if you knew that they weren't even going to be in NATO and you couldn't even get that end result and you didn't even really want that, then why publicly are you championing it? But then it was very interesting because I actually listened to this professor gave a speech. It's 6 years ago where he's talking about what happened when under the Obama administration, when we flipped over their government and Russia took over Crimea. And basically he's chalking it up to stupidity, that like for some reason the US just thinks it's going to like bully Russia without much foresight here, considering the fact that down the line we're probably going to need them as an ally against China, at least according to this professor. It's a very interesting speech. I recommend you guys go give it a listen. But he basically was just like, yeah, Putin's not going to have this. We know that Putin's not going to have this. And the only thing that's going to end up happening is that Putin's going to go, all right, well, then there won't be a Ukraine. If you're going to insist, and by the way, and the point is with the Monroe Doctrine, we can understand this. Like, all right, countries are evil creations, so we're not endorsing countries. Wars are evil activities. We're not endorsing wars. But if you understand that there's countries and they got leaders and they're willing to take actions, don't fucking poke the bear. If you know, like, in other words, there are experts. This guy's not me. He's not like, or, I mean, Scott Horton fucking knows everything, but you might point to Scott Horton and go, oh, that's the anti-war. This guy works at the University of Chicago. So, I guess that's probably fairly mainstream. And that guy knew it. He was just like, yeah, this is really stupid. Putin's a rational actor. And then he also pointed out that there's no evidence, which I've been saying forever, that Putin wants to expand. It's very easy to say after you provoke him into the violence to go, oh yeah, look, there's the violence, there's the expansion we're talking about. And Putin's not going to fall for the trap of trying to take over the country because he knows he can't afford to take over the country. So if you're poking at Putin, one of two things are going to happen. One, you're going to end up with a lot of deaths in Ukraine because he's telling you NATO's not going to be there. It's not cool. That is a red line. It's not going to happen. And he'll go fuck shit up. And then if you continue pushing it, I mean, how far into a hole are you going to push the guy so that he ends up using his nukes? Like, what is the end game here? What is it like? If you're taking this hard line of we refuse to negotiate, which is what I was making fun of in the last episode, like, what is this fantasy of what's going to happen? That Putin's just going to call us up and apologize. He's going to hand himself over so that he can be tried as a war criminal. Like, can somebody walk me through what exactly the argument even is from these individuals? All right. Anyways, there you go. We're calling it an episode. Go take some Kratom. YoKratom.com, home of the $6 kilo. Summer Porch Store's in session. Come check out Summer Porch Store. We got some good dates coming up. All right, let's take a couple comments and then that's our episode. What else do we got going on here? Rhinestone, she's dating Lewis. Who's dating Lewis? I don't know. I guess I missed something in the chat here. Abby Normal, she's got a podcasting starting up soon. All right. Rhinestone, can't wait for Jen Blackie and Zach Amico on Real Ass Presscast. I missed something in this conversation. You guys got maybe, all right, let's go up a little bit. Let's see what's going on here. I don't know. I don't know what this conversation is. I missed it. All right. Thanks guys for hanging out with me. We'll be back probably on Monday with another episode. Sunday, probably do a part of the problem. Wednesday, Thursday, I'll be back in the shed. Next weekend, I think I'm in Chicago already. I don't know. That's coming up soon. All right. We're done. Later.